welcome to Super Geeks Mycelial. Did I get it right, son?
You haven't finished it yet.
Just checking.
That's exactly what I was gonna
Mycelial
say.
Network News, MNN, which is our Star Trek Discovery reaction and review show.
You learned through repetition, George.
Yeah. And
Hey, you learn from actually completing your lines, Mr. Peters.
I know. And when I upload this, it's going to have the right thing on it. And this is for the episode, season 2, episode 9. It's called Project.
I think it was episode 8, wasn't it?
No, it was 9.
It was 9?
Nine.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, last week.
Cut that out.
It's okay. We all make mistakes. Episode 9, Project Daedalus.
Except this time we're going to broadcast your mistake, Carlos.
I can live with it.
It just shows he's human.
Put it on loop to dubstep.
Yeah, that's fine.
Carlos is human?
But we're reacting to episode 9 of Star Trek Discovery season 2, which is called Project Daedalus. And my name is George. Lord Commander George is my TeamSpeak name right now because I'm getting ready for Game of Thrones. But
no one actually calls him that. Just everybody at home.
Carlos did call me
calls
that
him
earlier, and I liked it. And Joe likes it. And with me today is Carlos Pedroza. How you doing, Carlos?
I'm ready for action.
And Joe, Joe, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. Why does a cow wag its tail?
Why does
Bag
a cow...
its tail, is that what you said?
Yeah, why does a cow wag its tail?
Why, Joe?
Well, the tail can't wag the cow.
Facts. That's some science shit right there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm still waiting for the punchline. Anyways.
That's
Who else do we have with us tonight, Lord Commander George?
I have a better joke.
Well,
I have a better bad joke.
Ooh,
Why does a cow wag its tail?
Why?
Because that's the only way you can cool a cow pie.
That one's pretty good.
Oh, I think I like George better.
And with us today again is Sean. Pants or no pants?
Pantsless?
Good, very good. You're in uniform on the ship.
Absolutely.
And Son, how are you?
I'm here. I have notes. I actually have a lot of notes this time.
Wow, I'm very excited to hear your notes, son.
I have notes too,
Okay.
but I want to hear Son's notes too. All right. Well, let's get started. Hold on a second. Pulling up my notes. So when we start the episode out, Admiral Cornwall is coming aboard in what is, to me, probably the most, and this is the only criticism I'm going to have for this episode, the most annoying, weird camera shot ever, where it's like upside down, flipping over for no weird reason. Just sure, coming off the shuttle. That made me dizzy. But she comes on board to discuss concerns with Pike about Section 31. She needs to do a lie detector on Spock, and she and Pike debate whether Spock is sane or not. And we also learn that the Red Burst event allowed for people in Starfleet to give more emergency power to Section 31, which is kind of a tropey theme of how things can go south in government, but it's like an emergency crisis power. So they have a lot of big red flags going off about the Red Burst and what the consequences are. But let me start with Son. What do you think of this opening scene?
I honestly don't know what to think about this scene, because it just... okay. Suddenly we have an admiral who's with us? Okay. That's kind of weird.
And what about you, Carlos? What did you think?
Well, I thought it was a great sequence because of the way it opened, which was, of course, this sense that I love the way visually they created the sense of Discovery is in hiding, and and she's
right
on her way out to meet them in secret, and I liked. It was sort of a topsy-turvy kind of thing, and hence the camera angle. That's the way I took it anyway. Plus it reminds you that in space there is no upside down. So, I just like being reminded of that from time to time. But what I really actually liked about Cornwall's visit to the Discovery this time was in the presence of Captain Pike, who is, he is considered one of the captains in Starfleet. It's very interesting to see the power dynamics on the bridge when she's there, because she's obviously an admiral, his superior officer, but she still defers to him in some important ways, but he defers to her in some important ways. It was an interesting dynamic I loved seeing play out in real time.
Oh, there's going to be a lot I'm going to talk about, depending on the scene, about the Cornwall and Pike sort of elite power teaming in there, and how they didn't step on each other's toes. But so much about that is it by itself is awesome. What did you think, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, it was an opening scene. Can I skip ahead just a little bit?
Well,
You like
it was an opening scene.
Of the
I mean,
beat.
what do you want? I mean, it was
Yeah, go ahead if you want.
it was nice visual effects. I liked the whole flipping around scene
I
because
hated that.
I got an impression of the of just stuff. But I like this. What I really like about the VFX in the show is um, you get a really grand sense of scale in that hangar deck, and I love that. I just think it looks amazing. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit to what Carlos was saying about and I think if I recall, this was the same scene. It just was an extension of it, where basically, Cornwell's talking about Section 31 and giving them the rights and stuff. And Chris is front. Pike and I are first name base now. Chris is in front of the view screen, and he's basically dressing her down in front of the crew. And it says, so this is why you didn't want us in there. And she's like, no, you little asshole. We didn't want you in there because you're the fucking best.
Yeah,
He's
I
like,
love.
That's a backhanded.
He's like,
That's literally my first note. One, the admiral backhand compliments Pike. It feels awkward. One, that's stupid. It's the flagship. And two, Pike was correct. He would have ridden her ass all the way to fucking Starfleet.
The Enterprise was not the flagship at that time.
But is Discovery? I don't think it is.
Neither is Discovery.
I thought it was funny how Pike was like, oh, okay, and like and then went sat in his chair. I thought it was funny.
That was.
I like that moment actually.
Yep, because that's it. Yeah, exactly. He was like the Kirk before there was a Kirk, and he was pre-Kirk. That was always the way it was meant to be.
He's like, there, are you happy, you little dick?
Yep. Joe, what do you think?
I'm with Sun with the Admiral showing up out of nowhere, but the opening scene, the Discovery, for me, it's the first time it became a character in the show. Like, there was just something about that flyby when it went to warp.
I totally agree with you on that, Joe.
It was
I
gorgeous.
felt that in other things, but for sure in that shot.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't think about that one. Like I said, the only thing that annoyed us was once the shuttle landed, then they did the upside down flip. But that's only because it was in the shuttle. If it happened in space, I would have been fine with it. It just felt weirdly out of place. But I mean, it's a minor quip. But so after that, of course, Cornwall gets Spock under a lie detector test. They do all that. I've already mentioned that. And then we cut to Arium.
I was waiting for. Honestly, I was waiting for Maury Povich to show up during that whole scene. I can't be the only one.
You were waiting for what?
Admiral Cornwall. The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Yeah, that was. I mean,
I was hoping for that. We didn't get that, so
yeah.
I would have thrown up a little in my mouth if that had happened.
Or just a reference to it would have been good.
You and Jonathan Frakes both.
Although I will say this. Oh, you're right. Jonathan Frakes directed this.
Directed
I forgot that too.
One of the things that I actually really love watching this season, and pretty much in all of Star Trek, but particularly, seeing the younger Spock we've never seen before, is the way that he talks to people is very particular, because he's always the smartest one in the room, like pretty much always the smartest one in the room. And even back when he was just a lieutenant, you get this sense that people sort of defer to him, even though he's much lower ranked than them.
Right. And
that he does not defer to them. He's just being logical. And I like the way that's communicated without being insubordinate. That's a hard dynamic to pull off.
Yeah, they respect him because of I think a lot of people in the Star Trek universe do respect the Vulcans as people enough to recognize it when they say something. It's not just coming from the mouth.
I don't think it's about being Vulcan. I think it's about being Spock.
Well, it's about being Spock. I agree with that. That whole lie detector scene, it was very interesting because, not that you would expect to see fear on Spock's face, but I mean, you knew who was in control in that room. Let's put it that way. That whole
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, and then so of course we find out that Cornwall is leading them to what she'll later tell them is the Section 31 headquarters. And as they warp off, of course, we switch to
Okay,
Arium.
I want to say one little nitpick there. It's not really a nitpick, but
Sure.
it's the thing that irritates me a little bit. This whole thing of, these transmissions are going to these coordinates, and there's nothing there except for this abandoned blah blah blah, and it's like, duh. I mean, abandoned, right? I mean, why would you be surprised about that? Of course, an abandoned, what was it, penal colony is a secret base. Like, of course. Why are you surprised about that?
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, who was it that said that they were surprised about that?
I think it was Detmer.
Well,
Or-
yeah,
or-
that's true.
well.
I was going to say it depends on who says if they were young and naive, but
I was waiting for Buzz Lightyear to fall out of a closet. It's a secret mission in uncharted space.
yeah, that's a good point.
I would just like to note for the record how feisty everybody is tonight.
Yeah.
I took a nap right before I came on the show, and I
So did
woke up
I!
from it. Yeah,
So you took a what?
nap.
You old.
Oh, a nap. I thought you
Yeah.
said the name of some drug I didn't know about.
Yeah, I was at a pizza place with rides and go karts and video games and shit with a group of 10-year-olds all day. I needed a nap.
That's true. 10-year-olds.
It's also why you're
nap
eating
worthy.
the ice cream, because it's sugar.
It is the reward I get. Yes.
Well, the next thing Arium is doing. She has to get rid of so much space, memory space in her chip in her head or whatever it is, because we find out she's an augmented human when a lot of people thought that was her race was cybernetic, but apparently she's watching flashbacks of her as a human with her fiance right before there was a horrible accident that caused whatever made her have to become an augmented human. That was an eye-opener that I'm hoping they explain in a short trek. Not that I mind the lack of exposition. I think a lot of times you can fill in the blanks. You don't need every little detail. And the mystery makes it kind of interesting. They give you just enough to fill in with fan, whatever. But I think they will end up showing it. But anyway, so and then Tilly apparently is a good friend of hers, and she comes in, and, you get the feeling that Tilly is aware of that she keeps having a dump memory, and she's hoping she make sure you keep our memories of me and you and everybody as friends. And so they're having a friend
Marion
moment.
goes, that's the first ones I delete.
Yeah, I was.
Although
sure that was
I'm a
Sun
little
behind all that
disturbed by
makeup.
this whole notion of having to arc. I'm
about
not
that.
sure how it's an augmentation, but I mean, and plus we don't know if you're right, son, and you're probably right that this is how they've conceived of it. I'm just not seeing the logic in it. If indeed she does have greater processing
in the
and the price she paid.
And they have
Yeah.
to keep explode.
Yeah. And then so they have a good bonding moment with Tilly and Arium, and we're getting to know.
It shows that Arium has more humanity than we realize she does, because she's actually human behind all the technology.
Right.
And so
Well, I
she's
think that
literally having banter with Tilly.
This was, I think, I wanted to kind of save this in the end, but I think we should probably start talking about it now because, I saw somebody complaining because that's what Star Trek fans do. I saw somebody complaining that that they killed off a beloved character, and I asked myself, I said, how is she a beloved character?
Yeah, that's a
We
good
didn't
point.
even know anything about her until
Right,
this
she
episode.
was. That's it. She was set dressing. But I think what's happened, I think this episode did such a good job of giving her character a backstory, exposition, and even an entire timeline in 52 minutes that it's like almost subconsciously in our heads we forget we didn't know a damn thing about her before this episode. And that's where I think what the most effective part of this episode was that character development. This was a character episode straight up, and one of the best character episodes I think Trek has done. It was just a straight up character episode.
I have to agree, but at the same time, I'm mixed on that because I agree that they were able to make you care. I mean, Doctor Who's done that with guest characters. Good writing, you can make a character you just met and get to know them, and then if they have to die
Right.
at the end, you can still feel like you miss them. But
Yep.
the thing is my only complaint was that I'm not the only one that's felt this way. It would have been so much more rewarding if they had just had 1 or 2 episodes where the scenes, like with the memory thing, had been foreshadowed, or we saw it like earlier in the season, just so it doesn't all happen at once.
I don't know.
Hey, look,
I wouldn't. I disagree with that only for the fact that I think for at least for me, I mean, and that this is your mileage may vary on this, okay? But for me, it was so impactful because of just all this information that we got at once, and we became just so attached to her so quickly. I think if we had given her a little bit more, it would have been less. It's kind of like, this reminded me of a little bit like Lower Decks at the end when Cito
It's
Jackson.
just like Lower Decks.
Where we
and
cared about
Concito.
exactly.
We only had 1 episode with her, but everyone cried.
But it did work. You're right.
Well, technically, we had 2. We had the
Hannah
episode.
Cheeseman is the new one.
The first duty where she's involved in that accident with Crusher, where that kid gets killed. But her presence is literally what Arian's is. She's set dressing for the episode. So, and that sets up the redemption episode of Lower Decks. And again, it's the same type of thing here going on. And it was done well in both situations. So.
And in this case,
but here's the thing. Here's the thing with both episodes. Both episodes, this tool character, not the main character, but like this extra character. There's suddenly this story to the character that we get emotionally attached to, not because we get attached to the character themselves. We get attached to the main character's emotions for that character.
Yeah, and in this,
I think you're.
I don't think that's an either
Tilly.
or.
That wasn't the deal for me on this. I get what you're saying because Tilly cared about her so much, but
it's not just Tilly. It's not just Tilly.
Burnham
Burnham was like on the verge of tears, having to make the decision.
Yeah, I get that, but I kind of truly the story that the part of the story of her story that was so heartbreaking was the loss of her husband, fiance, whoever it was in that show that took her to where she is today.
Oh, it was a husband. I'm looking at her. It says widowed, and it was a husband. Yeah.
Okay, well then her husband. Well, that's a constant. I mean, just her existence, everything for her. When she looks in the mirror, when she does these, it's all a constant reminder of how she got here, of the tragedy that she suffered. That's more the connection I have.
Oh, okay. I'm getting more information
than
here.
The friendship.
She eloped in Hawaii with him, and during their honeymoon phase.
Right, but what only counts is what we see on screen.
Exactly. So Hannah, what I was going to say about the selling me on while I was on the fence, is the actress. There's been 2. I'll talk about that in a second. But Hannah Cheeseman's acting skills through these prosthetics helped sell everything, and that's important. Just like the one that played Cito, if the actor portrays the emotion and from beginning to end, then it's going to totally work for a one-shot, get to know them and then lose them thing. And her acting,
disconnected from your channel.
Her acting to me, of course, was the key to that happening. She did an incredible job, and Sarah Minnich played her during the first season, and then she stayed on the show. Sarah Minnich stayed on the show to play a different character, and Hannah Cheeseman came over. I was watching the Ready Room, and she was saying that they gave her the choice of doing having someone else play the human parts for the flashback on the beach for the pictures of the video, and she said, no, I want to also portray the human element of her too. So that was interesting that they gave her that option, probably because of the time for makeup back and forth.
Well, here's the thing. This is like a typical Star Trek actor story. This one episode she was in is going to keep her fed for the rest of her life because of Star Trek conventions.
She'll definitely be a convention. Yeah. She'll be asked at a convention.
It's like that lady. It's like that lady from the Harry Kim gets killed, but she gets killed, but Harry Kim was in love with her, but she comes back as the fucking, what the hell was it? The DNA people who take dead bodies and reanimate.
Medians.
That's it. No.
You're talking about. I know
the one where Harry Kim's ex-girlfriend Lindsay was.
Lindsay, what's her face? Lindsay Ballard. Good call, son. Very good.
Wow.
Yes,
well, I remember that because I play Star Trek Online, and she's in that. They actually hired the voice actress for Lindsay Ballard from the episode.
Yeah, there are certain roles in Trek that are just so limited yet so iconic they can carry a person's entire career. There's no question about that. And that's like I said, she's officially gotten herself into the realm. Like I said, people calling her a fan favorite getting killed when she literally became a fan favorite in 52 minutes. It was a great job. Good for her.
Well, to be fair,
God bless her.
To be
I
fair,
think that
people were interested in
very
finding out
interested in
about
finding out.
her
Yes, exactly.
from the beginning.
Yes, that is very
Exactly.
true. There was so much mystery surrounding her, and it's funny because I got this sense because the haters say, "Well, how can they have androids on there? And it's 100 years before next generation. What's going on
I
here?"
love the conclusions to which some people leap without any evidence at all.
What you just described Star Trek fandom. Thank you very much, Carlos. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they did with that, and it's kind of like the writers, as it were saying, "Nope, sorry, this is what was going on the whole time." So,
Kabali, that was the name of the race. Just saying.
That's it. Yeah.
good call. Good job, George.
Yep.
There's no way I would have remembered that. Ever.
I looked it up while we were. Yeah, that's why I looked.
I'm sure you looked it up.
They're one of the races in Star Trek Online that they brought back when they did the Delta Quadrant.
I could remember the character. I just couldn't remember the race that she was part of.
Basically,
You're sufficiently impressive,
people.
son.
Good job, nerds.
Good job.
It's a win for nerds.
God, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of that Council of Aliens from My Stepmother's an Alien.
Oh, that's an obscure reference.
Wow,
God, that is such an underrated
film.
Sun's on a fucking roll now.
So we get to know
Yeah.
we get to know a little bit about Ariam, and then we have a scene where Spock is working with Burnham and Stamets. Well, not really. Stamets is actually annoyed by them being in the engineering with them, but they're trying to figure out some stuff about the patterns of the red bird.
Hold on. Let me interrupt just for a moment. Stamets is not annoyed by it. Stamets is just being Stamets. So carry
He
on.
acted annoyed.
Well, here's the thing.
That's what he does, you know.
Yeah, I know.
That's his thing.
Stamets is sitting here going, pushing buttons with whatever tool it is to see if it's corrupted, going, nope, not that one, nope, not that one. And Burnham and Spock are on opposing ends of a see-through board, looking at the star chart, just looking at the star chart.
Yeah.
And Stamets just, I mean, it's like one of those, okay,
like,
are you going
why
to
are they
say
using-
shit or not? Say something. Your brother and sister, say something. Talk. For God's sake, get it out in the open. That's what I felt Stamets was trying to do in that whole thing. And when they started talking about the end of the universe and shit, he goes like, okay, get the hell out of here. You're going to be talking about the end of the world. Just get the fuck out.
That's funny. Because Stamets, he was very, you could tell he was very unnerved with the uncomfortable silence around him. It was just like, God, just say something, make some noise here. Yeah.
Actually, I really liked seeing, this is like the original Stamets, the OG Stamets. Because it's the Stamets we saw in the pilot, and I liked him that way, actually. So it was kind of good to see him back. I also really liked, again, this is my Spock interacts with humans thing, the way that he and Spock talk to each other is, I thought, really interesting, because it's like, who really is the smartest guy in the room when it's Stamets and Spock?
That's a tough question.
That's an interesting contrast to what I was about to say in a couple of scenes. But
it was also very nice. I did appreciate how Stamets, because being the consummate professional he is, no ego involved here. He knew to defer to Spock for his help. That's what it's like. It didn't bother him at all to do that.
And yet Spock also deferred to him. That's what was so interesting to me, because like with most humans, you can tell Spock knows he's the smartest guy in the room. But Spock, you could tell the subtext between him and Stamets was he realizes Stamets is a fucking genius.
Yeah, right. There was a mutual respect between the two.
It's not even that it was mutual respect. It was logical conclusion. Hey, you want to save the fucking universe? Help me fix my engine.
Well, yeah, I mean, right, but that still translates as mutual respect too. And the other side of it too was that there was, what was interesting about that whole interaction between the two was Spock out of nowhere. He starts being like, they start being like girlfriends. I mean, Spock starts talking about I saw
Him dealing with Culber. I thought that
Culver
came
moving
later.
out. Yeah, and it was interesting because to me that was not just about just trying to talk to Paul there. There was more about Spock's trying to get through things for himself as well with his own personal issues. And
Mm-hmm.
it was interesting that he broke, because Spock has always been known to be a very isolated character. It's very, there's solitude is kind of his game in a lot of things. And for him to reach out like that was interesting. I thought it was a nice exchange between the two of them about that.
He's going through the first version of what will end up happening again when he deals with V'ger years later. Like it's affecting him, like overwhelming his senses, and he's sorting things out. And then in both cases, like he goes through something to try to get his mind back on track. And this was like the first time it happened. Well, as far as we know, the first time that this has all been happening to him. But he's been experiencing the Red Angel for, I guess, his whole life. But this is all culminating in this season. And so they're all trying to figure out on their way what they're looking for as far as Section 31. And we noticed that Ariam seems to be up to something that's pretty obvious. And she's being watched. And this is what I like. This security chief, Nam, not only has she been confirmed by name drop as a Barzan for her race, which we probably was obvious, but it was nice that they did confirm it, just for the hell of it. And I like the way she was catching on that something was up with her behavior of Ariam, and that she would pick that out. I think they handled that well. She didn't confront her right away, but she was just asking questions and then keeping an eye on her.
Yeah. From the standpoint of the security officer watching her, I understand it. But then later in the episode,
Should have said something.
Well, no, it's not even that. Later in the episode, just out of nowhere, Tilly is the one who has all this information suddenly. What? Shouldn't it be the security officer who's been watching this chick the whole time?
Well, she would have probably had something to say. Logically, she should have said something to the captain before they even left.
If that was the case, she should have brought it up with Pike. She should have been the one to have this information, not Tilly suddenly coming out of the blue with this revelation that even Pike seemed a bit surprised at.
I don't think she gathered enough information to speak up yet. I think.
But here's the problem I have with that is that, number one, I didn't really get any sense of why she thought she should be monitoring her.
Oh, anyway. I did. I watched it 2 or 3 times, and it's just Ariam's kind of. It's the way that she's trying to access information and not.
Yeah, but what is Nana? That's not her job. She doesn't know what buttons she's pressing. I mean,
she was the engineer before she was a security chief. I think she actually has.
Okay, but here's the thing: we're all looking at that. But why would she be looking that close at somebody doing their job? That's the only issue I have with this. Is that us as the audience?
I would have to see it again. But...
The way they're doing the camera, they're setting us up that we know something's not right about this, but. Yeah. Her as a participant, I didn't see the connection as to why she suddenly was getting the perspective of the audience. It wasn't really
for the security chief to investigate, there has to be some kind of something there, and we haven't seen.
But see, that's the thing. She wasn't really investigating.
All of the
well, she was skulking. There still needs to be a reason for the skulk.
She was picking up on something that she wanted to make sure before she spoke up.
Now that's stalking. Okay, that's what she was doing.
Maybe she was into her. Who knows?
I don't know. All I can say is it was very weird having her just kind of stare at Ariam when.
I know what you guys are saying, but at the time,
I'm definitely going to fall. I'm going to fall in the category of yes, that was a weakness in the plot that they could have firmed up a little bit.
Especially considering the person that we all think is responsible is literally locked inside their quarters.
Well, like I said, I saw this 2 or 3 times, and even from the first viewing, I did feel as though I can't off the top of my head remember because it was all visual cues, but I think I sort of could feel like it was Ariam's behavior. I'm not sure if it was like how she was looking around, make sure everybody was watching her. She did something like that made me agree that she should be looking at her. But there was some subtle thing that she did. It wasn't just her carrying on like she normally does. It was like she was looking around her shoulders to make sure nobody's watching her. And I think that was what I recall her observing. That was like, what is she doing?
I didn't see any of that. All I saw was her, or that was what's her name? Nam? Is that her name?
Yeah.
No,
And it's
all I-
N-A-M.
Yeah, like the bread.
N-A-H-M.
All I saw was her reacting to what the audience was reacting to. That's all I saw.
See, the big thing is the only time we ever see any real kind of looking around panic out of Ariam is when she's coming out of the red dots phase. Because she's lost time and she doesn't know what's happened. And suddenly she's in a place she may have not been before.
Well, here's the thing too. Another weakness of this whole Nam, sub thing, is that it didn't pay off, because she was on the ship, and it's like the ship, the Pinot Conley space station / whatever. She was on there, and I'm skipping ahead just a tiny bit to cover this, but she was on there and she didn't see this coming. She's been monitoring her for the entire episode.
As you were speaking, Sean,
she didn't see it coming at all.
As you were speaking, I had the video for the episode up just to help me with remembering certain scenes.
And see, look, here's a bigger thing. When Ariam and Burnham are going over to the station, what does she say to Pike? I'll keep an eye on her.
But I was rewatching the scene real quick, and I didn't turn up too much because I don't know if it would pick up in the recording. I don't think it will, but just in case. But she basically what started her getting kind of weird about Ariam was Ariam had stayed behind after she was supposed to be somewhere else, and she said something about aren't you supposed to be doing something else? And Ariam came up with this excuse, but it was a little fishy, to be honest with you. But that's subjective, so. But overall, I think it wasn't followed up with good. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, look, the first thing I think that she says, like, when she's like, "What are you doing?" It's like,
sort of like
none of
that,
your fucking business. Do your own goddamn job.
Well, she probably taking the security chief a little too seriously. Sometimes you get those.
So what you doing? Oh, not much, just engineering stuff.
Math is hard.
Well, you know what? That's the wrong person to say that to, because she used to be chief engineer on the Enterprise, so she's got that experience behind her. But so that was an interesting build up as she watches her. We already agree that wasn't necessarily a good part of the episode. I'm on the fence about that, but it's.
I mean, look. Here's the thing. I have 3 minor nits with this episode, except for one massive plot hole, which we are going to discuss.
Oh, but, yes. Is it the one we talked about, Sean?
Yes, you and I both came to the same conclusion on that. And you know what? Everyone came to this conclusion.
Everyone came to the same conclusion.
But we'll get to
we'll get to that.
But it's like, again, you know how I am with this. It's like I honestly I overlook a lot because based on an episode as a whole. But moving along.
Oh, so now we're at the chess scene. Okay.
Well, they're getting ready to prepare for these with the schematics of that Section 31 thing. There's figuring out like how to approach it or what's going on there, and then the chess scene. The chess scene was interesting.
Okay. This is another one of my notes. Okay, so engineering chess. This shows that Spock and Burnham are true siblings because one is able to goad the other.
Yes.
Like, one is able to
goad.
Goad.
Yeah, yes. Goad. Yes, I was thinking the same thing.
Yes.
That the back and forth.
Like I dare you. Yeah.
It was the best part of the entire scene. It's not what they accomplished. It's how much they acted like siblings. It was fucking amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, it was. That scene was pretty informative as to. And Spock did mention too that he's seen things from the Red Angel, like a future star going supernova. I thought it felt to me like he was alluding to the Hobus star that destroyed Romulus, because it seemed kind of thrown out. I don't know.
That's a reach.
Not necessarily, because next episode is called the Red Angel. The one after, Distant Infinity or something like that, and it feels like that we're going to explore whoever uses the suit
do not expect this to have any connection that far out whatsoever.
I agree.
They've
Could be an
already
Easter egg.
I doubt it. We've already got that's more than an Easter egg, dude. That would be a major plot.
I mean, I know it's vague, a star exploding, going supernova, but
who told you this? Because I don't think you came up with this on your own.
me?
Who planted this nugget with you?
no, it's on the episode. I listened to it in the episode.
No, the Hobus thing. I mean, who was that? Because that's so much of a reach.
It is a reach. It's
not even a brush. It's just a reach.
Yeah, it is pretty vague.
And the other side of that too is you have to remember that
There was somebody telling me, but I'm not gonna say who it is because it'll be.
I knew it. Okay, but here's the thing about that too. You got to look at it from this perspective.
I'll tell you after we record.
You've got a. If you tell me if it's a mods in some group, I'm gonna punch you. I swear.
I'll type it in the TeamSpeak chat. I'll tell you in the TeamSpeak chat.
But here's the thing: is that the other side of that, why that's such a reach, is that you got to look at this practically. You've got the Picard series, which is premised on that event. So I don't think they're going to keep that isolated. Okay, I mean they're not going to shoehorn that into Discovery as a major plot point. I just don't see that happening.
I agree. Let's
but there is another star going supernova that is a lot closer that we could point to.
Which one's that?
The Khan star.
Ceti Alpha 5?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That one.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen
Alpha?
until. I thought that was in a supernova. I thought that was some sort of star collision or something.
No,
he said it went supernova.
Exploded.
Was it? Okay.
He said it
How the
exploded.
planet itself didn't get completely obliterated, I don't know.
No, you know what? I take it back. He doesn't say that. Ceti Alpha 6 exploded, shifting the orbit of the planet.
Shifting the orbit, right.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And so it's not the star. So
This is Ceti Alpha
Alpha
5.
5.
Now we're getting geeky.
Ceti Alpha 6 exploded. Anyway, sorry, go.
So Spock and Burnham have their little tantrum exchange, and Burnham's like, "Peace out. I'm out of this, brother. Forget it. You're hopeless." And she storms off, and Spock's like, "I don't care. I like expressing my emotions. I'm whiny Spock now. I'm ragey Spock."
Well,
Whoa!
Yeah,
Where
I'm being
the
sarcastic.
hell did that come from?
I'm being sarcastic. I love the scene. I was just trying to be funny, but it didn't work.
Okay.
you just angered everyone, George. All those nerds just got really Spock angry.
It didn't work gloriously. This is like all the people who complain about Luke Skywalker. And
I had no problem with it. I just thought I just wanted to make fun of it a little bit.
I think it was more an issue of this was a brother working something out with his sister. And we've, I think a lot of us can relate to having these kind of discussions with siblings where it's like you're pissed and it's just a stream of consciousness when it comes to your emotions. Like, fuck it. I don't even care anymore. Fuck it. I'm just doing it this way. Fuck it. I'm angry and I'm just angry for the sake of being fucking angry. You know what?
Fuck it. We're doing it live.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. O'Reilly. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, he went Bill O'Reilly on us. That was amazing.
I want to.
But I want to also. That was also him proving his own point that he was trying to make to Burnham the entire time, subverting expectation.
Yeah, and the other thing about it too is in the process of doing this, he also pointed out Burnham's weakness, which is her carrying and her needing to carry the weight of everything on her shoulders as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And so after that, and she storms out, the crew is getting suddenly he goes to now this part. Now there's one nitpick I'll say about the scene I'm about to talk about in a second. They come across that there's a minefield in front of the Section 31 station, and they go on and on about there's a minefield. Federation has banned mines, which actually I've had people disagree with that's going too far with the like left of the Star Trek stuff. That is a fair argument because just like we leave mines in other countries and kids step on them, so I think it's the same idea. You don't do mines because if any get left behind, innocent ships get blown away because we didn't get rid of those mines, and that's a logical reason why you would outlaw those, especially in space.
But the problem, the problem, and I'm surprised nobody came up with a problem with this, is that we had a whole season arc based on mining the wormhole entrance in Deep Space Nine.
Yes, but that's 100 years later, dude.
And that was a desperate.
Well, but
desperate
that's
situation.
what Carlos was going to say was how that was going to be my retcon of this. Exactly. You're talking 100 years in the future. I'm just surprised nobody complained about it, considering how much these people like to complain about things like this that are 100 years separating.
Yeah, but see, there's another problem with what George is putting forth as the argument for doing so. When a ship deploys mines, it maps where it's mining. It wouldn't be that hard at all to go back and
suck them up.
Just collect them.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the other thing about it too was that we're talking about. It was a penal installation. It was a prison that was mined around. It wasn't.
No. Section 31 put those mines there. That was after they took it over.
I understand that, but look what it was. It was their base in the middle of nowhere that used to be a prison. It's not like they put it. They mined the perimeter of and they put these mines in Vulcan's.
Well, I understand that, but I think the point was that Pike was pointing out Section 31 is doing things way out of what the bylaws are for the Federation, not just Starfleet.
I also thought that was kind of a cheap way to make that point by going. It was. I'll
tell you why.
The mine route.
The mine route is because Section 31. The argument has been they're not Starfleet, but they still are parts of the Federation themselves. It's like separate. It's like a different branch.
But here's the thing: they are Starfleet more than Starfleet. Their existence.
Well, that's the argument. It's like having two branches instead of one for the military.
But they're going back to the Starfleet charter. The real argument would be is they're not Federation.
No, Federation charter. There's a difference.
But they are Starfleet. But here's the thing about that is that look,
you get it backwards, Sean. They've always had the Section 31 was part of the original section. Oh, you're right. It is Starfleet. You're right.
Starfleet precedes the Federation.
Yep.
So here's the thing on this is that. You've got, of all the things that Section 31 has done on this show to this point, I think the mines of an empty prison are the least of the things for Pike to get on his high horse about. But that's what the writers chose to have him do so he could make his point there. So that's just my opinion on it.
That's fine. My minor nitpick I was going to mention is they're at Yellow Alert. Now, I always found in past episodes of any of these shows, Yellow Alert usually means shields up too. You're just not arming the weapons.
No, I don't think so.
No, it is a state of It is a state of tactical readiness. Red Alert automatically, by computer default, raises shields.
Yeah, they didn't even raise the shields until they got hit by that first spinny mine.
But I can't. Here's the problem I have with that scene. I must have missed something along the way here because. She's like, don't put the shields up because shields attract the mines. And then after the mines start coming, they say, fuck it. And they put the shields up anyway.
That's because the mines were, they didn't know it at the time until later, but they were being guided. And once they realized they were going to get hit anyways, they put up the shields or you're not going to last long.
Okay,
that's how I took it.
This is kind of like they had their own "Don't Cross the Streams" scene here. So yeah,
they tried to go in without shields, like Cornwall suggested. But once mines were coming at them anyways, and later they figured out that they were being guided. What are you gonna do? You got we got.
I'm actually more surprised that they had like 3 different types of mines.
They're pretty cool. I like the tech involved.
They had the normal depth mines, which is why they wanted the shields down because those would be attracted by the shielding frequency. Then you had the blade mines, which didn't really explode so much as they spin into things and shoot.
Yeah, they drill in. And then
they were like the buzz droids from Star Wars.
Right, and then they had the blackout mines, which knocked the sensors out.
Then you have the blackout mines, which are not just sensor problem, which not just knock out the sensors. They falsify readings because if you remember that episode, she says Helm isn't responding, and the Admiral goes, "Yes, it is."
You're flying blind. Resort to your training. That was cool. I like that part. I guess they train. It's like what killed John F. Kennedy Jr. He was not trained as well in he was going only by he was supposed to go by instrument training in that storm, but he was going by visual. And it's the same idea. If you can't trust your instruments, you got to do the reverse or whatever.
I thought we were good. I was like, what are you talking about? Kill John F. Kennedy. I thought Oswald killed John F. Kennedy. Where did we go with what happened? What?
Because he was
Junior.
Junior,
Junior because of the instrument training. It wasn't as good at instrument flying.
Over 20 years, so okay, yes.
Because of the storm, so he was going slowly by he wasn't trained on.
Right. We got it.
But you get the idea. So so that was cool. Like Son just mentioned, and then this is probably one of my favorite scenes, and probably the most. The way that they're all working together to get through that minefield, and this is like Michael Himman pointed out when I was on his show. This is well, it wasn't him; it was one of his Twitter people. But they said this is probably the most awesome working together. Literally, all knows what they're doing. Professional bridge crew we've ever seen on Star Trek. I have to agree with that. What do you guys think? I mean, as far as displaying it, we're all working together, literally.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with that too. I thought it
Not
was
just the captain coming up with every idea, you know.
Yeah.
And Cornwall playing off them, like using both showing their experience. I love the way that they wrote those lines.
I think you certainly get a better sense of people really being
There's
professionals.
a lot more trust on that bridge than with Lorca ever.
Yeah, and there's also, but if you look at like TNG, I mean, TNG looks like a bunch of. I mean, in retrospect, no hate against TNG. I love TNG, but you look at it in retrospect, it's just tapping the screen, making
It's
things
autopilot.
happen. Right, exactly. And this really seems it's like an old summer. It's almost like a submarine movie where you've got everybody knows their role on the ship and what needs to get done. And they all worked like
Is
so
this
fluidly.
their Balance of Terror episode?
And then you got the
well, just think
on this show.
And then they got where it shows Pike's why she said he's the best. His experience where we gotta. Burnham suggests the computer's going by like a war game. He says, "Are we gonna introduce a random chaos?" So he's just like he makes a quick decision, like everybody call it a random evasive maneuver. I loved that part.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Even though they kept getting hit anyways.
And here's the thing. How much of that was Burnham learning from what Spock had just done in the chess room, and how much of that was possibly Spock having seen this and in his being lost in his own mind and having had the Telosians fix it.
That's a good call. I mean, I hadn't even thought about that. But
I just don't understand why they didn't use the fate. Go ahead.
It all seems to be. I hadn't made that. The connection I made was more tropey than anything else. Was that? Oh yes, our eureka moment because I played chess with Spock. That kind of bugged me a little bit. But the way Sun just explained it, it gives it a
I didn't
lot
think about
more
it like
depth.
that. She said that.
I hadn't thought about it from that.
Why didn't they use?
That's pretty good.
Why didn't they use the damn phasers to at least take out some of the mines? They were getting hit constantly, even though they're trying to evade. I mean, phasers can hit mines. I mean, they can at least hit some of them.
But here's the thing.
I agree.
Phasers are not 100% accurate.
Doesn't matter. You could do the.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me finish. Damn it.
Sorry.
Okay. So if you have mines that are that are attracted to the shield frequency, the energy harmonics of a shield, why wouldn't they then also be attracted to, I don't know, a phaser beam that misses?
They should have at least said it though.
We need to have Rick Sternbach on the show next week to explain all this shit to us.
And if Cornwell had said if there was one quick throwaway line with the captain where Pike's like get ready to fire phasers, and she had said that'll make them come faster or something, I would have been fine with it. But they didn't even. Maybe it's a cutscene. Who knows?
Well,
no, I mean it's
the kind of problem that we see again in a little while, which is a big plot hole, and it just makes you, when you know the technology that's available on Star Trek on a starship, and it's deliberately not being used, that's a big red flag plot wise, and it should be dealt with in some way.
Well, I'm guessing this is kind of something to do with the spore drive, but
use the main deflector dish to fire a particle beam.
What was that, son?
Use the main deflector dish to fire a particle beam.
Well, for all we know, they didn't know how to do that yet. But so they get ready to.
They do. Didn't they? Wasn't it done in Generations?
No, I'm talking about this time period.
That is this time period. That's 20 years later.
No, that's quite a long ways away, dude. That's like 30 years later.
Generations was way after this.
Oh,
yeah.
Like 75 years.
Far. It's not like
no. Generations. We're talking about
years later.
We're talking about the first part of Generations.
With the Enterprise B.
Right.
With the ribbon.
That is also like at least 30 years from now.
Yeah, at least
big deal.
Big deal.
They can figure out how to turn the deflector dish into a big shooty thing.
Oh yeah, sure, but they have to create the Miranda class first.
So they finally get through the minefield, and all of a sudden the mines stop. And then once they get in front of it, they get hailed by what they think is Section 31.
Yeah, the cinematography
Admirals.
here is just so perfectly coincidental that the moment Ariam finishes uploading whatever it is she's downloading from the main computer, the mines stop. And the
Exactly.
Admiral hails.
And it was kind of interesting the way that Chili kept trying to want to come over, and the way she said, "I got this," and the way she talked to her was the AI apparently made her made sure she sounded authentic, because it could have been something she would say. She, instead of saying something just like cold like a computer. But then again, this computer is an AI that knows how to artificially recreate personalities, like she did with this group of admirals, as we see that they're trying to convince Pike that Starfleet was the ones that authorized them to do what they're doing, that they're fugitives, and that he's not going to get any help from Starfleet. And then, of course, Saru, using a cool gimmick that was introduced earlier this season with his eyes abilities to see infrared and all that stuff, suddenly he has a light bulb moment where he becomes useful because, not that he wasn't, but more useful because he sees and recognizes the fact that what they're experiencing is also a holographic trick, and that's also what frames Spock. I like the way they tied that all together smoothly in a short period, and Pike was even rushing them like, "Come on, hurry up, get out with it, because we don't have much time." What do you guys think of that scene?
I thought that was probably a plot hole for what we find out later, because wouldn't a computer have actually thought of that?
I don't know.
Well,
What were you gonna say?
I think the issue I have is deeper than that, which is the idea that if they know they have holographic technology that is that good,
How did they not do this before?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I mean, it's like
Yep,
it's
yep.
like deep fakes now. I mean, deep fake videos, deep fake photographs now that are so good they look authentic. But we all know about deep fakes now. So like,
But the signature was authentic. You didn't do an ultraviolet.
But they didn't do
the
it-
signature was authentic.
They didn't do a pixel check.
Yeah, I mean, there was right. This was like 1980s, 1970s forensic investigation going on here. It was kind of silly that they couldn't do a little deeper dive into figuring out if Spock had actually murdered people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Well, no, we have to get We have to get later into the episode. I'll save it.
All right. Well, so
At
Well,
some
but
point,
here's
and
a
I'm
question
not
I
sure where
got. I
the
just
best.
want to clarify this because I was a lot of things are happening fast, and I have kids around me, so my head tends to be in chaos at most times. So we're going on the station here to stop the AI from going all
No. We're
We don't
going
know
on
the
to
AI yet.
we're going onto the station because Section 31 has cut off the Admiral's access to input data into the Section 31 all-encompassing
Control.
control
Right.
thing.
Got it. Okay. So have we gotten to the dead admirals yet? Are we
yeah, we're on the
there
Dead
yet?
Arrows. Is this where you guys' theory
Go.
comes in?
Set it up. Set it up, George.
Well, what's your theory? If that's where the cue
Oh,
for
I'm
that
not
is?
going anywhere. They just wanted to discuss
He was
it,
just wondering
Oh,
what
all
was
right,
happening.
yeah.
But set it up with it.
So they send Nam, they send Ariam, logically there's a reason why she'd be useful over there, and they send Burnham to some people complain about this, the all female brigade.
Let's not talk about other people's opinion. Let's just go with ours.
It's a
Right.
okay?
stupid opinion because I thought it was awesome. But they go over there to the station, and after they leave, that's when Tilly figures out that what happened with Ariam, and then that's when shit hits the fan. And what'd you think of that? What'd you think of that, Joe? Let's start with you this one.
It's all too convenient for me, to be honest.
In what sense?
Just A to B to C.
Oh,
I actually kind of have the same sort of opinion. There's a lot of A to B to C. For example, okay, they have no problem beaming onto the base. Supposedly, we're dealing with an AI that is in charge of the base, that can run the base. Why not have shields up? Why let them transport on there at all? Having
Because it's
transported
all
there.
about the base. No trouble. No trouble.
Wow.
Now, see, here's
I
here's
can't-
another.
Can't
I think
beat
it
that
wanted
one,
I
Josh.
think it wanted Arium to go on. That's why.
Now, see, here's the problem with this. At this point, they still don't know what's in the AI. So, this same question applies to all the Section 31 agents who would be on the station. You've
Oh no, wait, they
literally
did
just-
answer.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
You've just had the Admiral, quote unquote, contact them as they're trying to send agents over to the station. You would think the logical conclusion would be, don't let them go.
Don't let who go.
The away team.
Well, also she wanted.
Okay,
Arium.
first of all, in
31
this era of Trek, they're not called away teams; they're called landing parties.
I think
That's the
You nerd.
Sorry, it's a pet
fucking
peeve.
nerd.
I
It's a
thought
pet
I heard them say that term one time in Discovery.
Nope.
Huh,
Nope.
okay. All right.
Always
Um,
a landing
but
party. Yep, he's
the-
right.
the-
But
The-
Control
the-
wanted Arium.
The problem still exists that even if it wasn't an AI, that it was Section 31, somebody over there in that station would have said, they're beaming people in, quarantine off the area, raise shields, put on all the phasers and shit because they're trying to invade. That doesn't happen.
Well, and they show up in the ship, and it's the ship, the
Station.
Base.
headquarters
Station.
station,
Base,
and
yeah.
it's abandoned, and that didn't raise any eyebrows.
Well, except for the dead bodies.
No, here's the thing. You expect some level of abandon. You would expect some level of abandon and some level of decompression in this station because it's the front. It's the cover for Section 31's base. So there would be an
All right,
area
so-
deeper
so
inside the
like-
base that
so
couldn't
what
be
you're saying-
scanned.
The outer layers are just what if somebody were to get in, what they would see, and
Yeah.
then
They'd
you go,
expect
and
to
then you
see.
go right, okay, and then you all right, so you get deeper in there.
Mhm.
Okay, let's talk about dead admirals.
So, yeah, and then
Because,
of course,
Carlos, remember what we've been talking about for quite some time now about.
oh, is this you guys' theory
what-
part?
Well, you've been in there with us too on this, that we are all expecting for that big event that drives Section 31 underground.
Right.
I'm
right.
pretty fucking sure killing your admirals off, murdering them, is high on that list.
It's two things actually that are explained by this thing. One is it explains why Section 31 would probably go underground, and number two, it explains why Starfleet, why the Federation has the ban on sentient AI.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not an overused trope because it's a realistic thing that is going to be ongoing.
There's actually an entire Star Trek novel that's about that, about how the Enterprise's computer achieves sentience and what happens, and then of
Well,
course
there's
we see
there's an
that in
episode of
TNG
it.
several times. Yeah,
Right, exactly.
And the M5 later during that ward
Well,
test.
see, but see, that's the thing. For like the longest time, I don't know if it's common knowledge or something, but aren't all Starfleet vessels equipped with some form of AI? It's just not sentient.
Yes, I think that's a fair
Yeah,
statement to make.
Yeah, there's a difference of how it's not sentient. Right, there's a limit to what it can do.
Did you notice the Tilly call out for Duotronics?
I
didn't
did.
catch
It was
that.
great. No, I did.
Okay,
I got a
so
little
now
She called out the
nerdgasm from it.
Duotronic. She called out the Duotronic circuitry. It was great. Yep.
So now we've come to my biggest note in all of this.
Think
You
it's
wrote-
something
You wrote
that
it in
we
big
all
letters
have.
versus small.
I think we're all waiting for this one.
Yep.
Okay, so we basically find out that the whole plot of this episode is the movie Eagle Eye.
I don't know what that movie is.
I don't know that.
That
movie.
is a movie with Shia LaBeouf, and the U.S. government has this sophisticated statistic running AI.
Okay,
And
yes,
this
I do
did see
remember this
that.
movie, but I did not make this connection. We were going down a much bigger, a much more simplistic, big plot
Problem.
hole in this whole
So
thing.
so
And that is
basically,
go ahead.
So basically, in the plot of Eagle Eye, this sentient AI is receiving orders, or is giving recommendations that ultimately go ignored, which the Admiral has already said to Pike, because at the end of the day, the captains and the Admiral get to make the final choice. So now you have this AI that is somewhat sentient getting pissed off because its orders are ignored, so it starts, one, killing off a bunch of people that can shut it off, and two, starts co-opting people by force unwillingly to do its bidding.
Yeah, it's fucking
All right,
Skynet.
that's a fair argument.
I mean, you know,
Yeah,
it's
Skynet.
So
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
Skynet. That's what I thought of it as.
Now,
But
Sean and
We are
Carlos.
approaching
Go ahead.
what?
Oh,
We are approaching what I think is the biggest plot hole.
That's what
in
I'm about
the
to
episode,
ask.
and it
I was gonna say,
troubles me deeply.
Go ahead.
Carl, should we say it together?
Let's say it together.
1, 2, 3.
Transporters.
Transporters. Why did they not beam Arium out using a transporter?
They talked about that in
No, they
the
didn't.
ready room. In the ready room.
Okay,
show.
what did they say in the ready room?
They said, from what I recall, they asked why didn't they beam her out, beam her when she was in space just before she died, at least. And I can't remember what they said. It wasn't really a good answer, to be honest with you.
Thanks, George. That was helpful. Appreciate that.
Yeah, but see, here's the problem.
So basically, it's still a problem. A huge problem.
Well, wait a minute. No, you can't say that at all, because even if you do beam her back aboard, you still have the same fucking problem.
Don't have to beam her aboard. You can beam her anywhere but
Into
that place.
Yeah, force fields and all that stuff.
Right. Here's the thing. The problem with them not beaming her, it's not so much that they didn't beam her back, is that they didn't give a fucking reason why they didn't, why it wasn't even on the table. That's the problem with it.
Like with the phasers.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. We've just been dealing with a bridge crew that has demonstrated how fucking smart they are.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, nobody thinks of transporters?
This occurred to no one. It wasn't even brought up. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that, I've seen people try to retcon this with saying, well, she did say she was going to have to kill everyone and take over Discovery. And think, okay, fine, then address that. That's okay. But they didn't. They didn't say a word about transporting her and why we can't do that. All they did was just not bring it up.
See, I'm looking at it from a completely different perspective here. If you beamed Arium back aboard Discovery in any location, guess what?
Said it doesn't.
Guess what? Guess what? She can literally start ripping panels off the walls and rewriting.
You beam her into space. We're forcing this to have to be a choice Burnham made. That was the dramatic impetus here.
Right, exactly.
It's one that is obviated by the fact that they had technology that didn't have to make it come down to her choice, her moral choice.
I haven't figured out yet who actually blew the
Pike
alarm.
had already made the decision. He'd made the
No,
decision.
who actually opened it, because Burnham was
Doesn't matter who opens it. He's the one who made the call that she had to be gotten rid of.
No, I gotcha, but they didn't show who actually opened the airlock because Burnham wasn't there yet. She didn't actually reach the door before the airlock blew on her.
But that doesn't matter.
No.
Matter.
They did show who opened the airlock.
Eventually.
Yes, it did.
He means at the time that it happened.
Oh, I remember now. You're right. It's Nam. Okay.
Son,
it's not.
Your theory isn't bad, but it's missing the point. The point is, it's not that what she would have done what she would have done when she was there. It's that it wasn't even mentioned as an option, and it wasn't. And taking that step further, it wasn't explained why we can't do that. Okay, and you would think that they beamed him in without a problem. Why couldn't they beam him out? And if they can't, they need to explain that. That's the whole.
It could have been a cutting room scene thing, but
It's a hole. It's a hole because you don't cut out the thing that explains the plot hole.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah,
I mean, wait a minute. This is coming from the guy who said, like, a couple episodes ago, I could forgive half the fucking episode because the other half of the episode was amazing. Fuck you.
No. I didn't say.
Hey,
half.
no, I'm. But this is the point. This is the point of that scene, though, son. I forgive plot holes all the time. If they're ways to move the story forward, whatever. But this was the point of the scene: is that they were trying to make this about Burnham's moral choice, and that overrided everything. And if it takes you completely out of the scene to know that, well, they transported them in, why can't they transport her out? And it didn't have to be back to Discovery. It just had to be anywhere but that place.
Maybe I'm just too much of a normie to go, oh, hey, they should be using the transporters.
Well, I agree with Carlos.
I'm obviously not that much of a fucking nerd.
it's
But
got
here's
nothing
the
to do
thing:
with that.
if they had shown up on a shuttle, okay, it would have been a different. And they had explained we can't beam you in. If they had shown up on a shuttle,
Right.
that would have changed everything about that
Yep.
whole thing.
Yep.
That's all they had to do was just have him show up on a shuttle.
Well, like
Well, see,
Spock
here's
said,
the thing.
it's
Well, see,
hold on.
it's-
Like Spock said, he told Burnham, it's you or her, Michael. It was all about saying it's you or her. But
Yeah,
there
that's
was
exactly
a third
what
option.
Yeah,
and it
but
was
that's
at
the
expense
point.
of
The
That's why I
continuity.
agree,
That
yeah.
was the problem.
But see, I don't remember them showing the beam in. They were just already
They
on the
did.
station.
No, they transported them in. We saw them beam in.
Okay, because I don't remember that.
Yep, there was a golden light and everything, and they started
They did.
moving
Yep.
around, and yeah.
I'm actually, yeah, I see it. I was looking through the episode.
But
So that's a problem. That's a
So
problem.
okay, so basically we've gotten to the point where we find out that it's not Section 31, it's the system. Oh, okay. So it's the
It's
man.
the system taking advantage of the fact that Section 31
It's the
exists.
man in control of everything at this point, right? Yeah. Okay.
But-
No,
So,
it's the
It's the
computer.
system.
As a matter of fact,
Here's
when
the
they
thing.
beam in, they're hovering over and the gravity's not quite adjusted yet.
Right.
Okay, here's the
I was
thing.
trying to make a joke, Carlo.
I want to clarify something here. I need some clarification. No, I want to clarify. I need some clarification here. Who killed all those people? The AI or Section 31?
The
AI.
It
AI.
stores,
Okay,
cutting people in half.
Then who made then
I know where you're going.
Yes, I know where
Yeah.
you're going. I have these notes too.
who
Go,
made
go.
who made the
Archer.
video talking of Admiral What's Her Face?
Oh, that
telling
was
everybody
the
they're all a
same
bunch of people?
holographic technology. That was also the AI.
Yeah, the AI just
they
copied
explained
them.
that.
So then my theory about Section 31 is not true. Then Section 31 isn't responsible for this of the murdering of the admiral and the
Them creating
fake
the AI
message.
and doing all that without Starfleet knowing is what's going to end up being either way. It's going to end up making them
Okay,
They're
there we
the good
go.
guys.
They created the fucking thing. That's right. Okay, all right.
Right.
Kids in
because
heads.
that was like Pike said,
Okay.
you can't do that, and they went way over the line when it comes to stretching the rules.
Well, I am so glad I have you guys here to point out that what's really going on in the episode, so I don't continue to focus on things like Ariam doesn't have sea cleaner in her head. So thank you very much for
Okay,
straightening
but
me out.
we need to zoom out to a bigger question then.
What's
I
that?
have notes. I have notes.
Okay, you go ahead, son, because I want to see. What you
Okay,
think.
so my big big note on this is how long has the system really been in control? Undernote: the admirals may have been dead for 2 weeks, but how long could they have been trapped there without being able to leave? This calls into question the council showing up as a hologram projection on the Section 31 ship with Leland or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
how many other times have the council been showing up to other people in the Federation and on Section 31 ships?
Well, we don't know for sure, but we do. There is a time frame established around when, and Cornwall mentions this when she says it's been several weeks since she's been able to input data into control. So we know it's been at least that long, and so it gives us at least some kind of signpost for when things started really going.
We need to mention something else too before we.
Bigger issue even than that.
Ariam mentions to Burnham that she gives a clue that the system wants Burnham dead. I think that was something I forgot to mention earlier. Why did the system want to let them on board? Because it wanted Burnham more than Ariel. It said it wanted you here to kill you, for me to kill you, because you are the cause of this. It's all about, or you're the reason why this is all happening. So that's a big clue about her possibly being the red.
Yes.
And it also explains what we were asking earlier. It just suddenly occurred to me why the system let them come on board in the first place. It needed Burnham to come on board.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Something that just occurred to me is that the AI system is doing the exact same thing that the Telosians do, just with technology as opposed to a natural ability. And this.
Oh my God! You just made me have a light bulb. I'll say it in a minute. Go ahead.
It's creating illusions. And this, I'm starting to think we're tying this all into why General Order 7 may exist after all. This may all have something to do. This all connecting together back with the Telosians. This may not be. Last episode may not be the last time that we see the Telosians.
But there's still a bigger issue here, you guys, and I'm amazed you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
Hold on, before you say that,
I'm not finished with my notes quite yet. Okay. So even though we may have had the actual members of Section 31 still alive, how long has the system, quote unquote, been making these suggestions like, I don't know, make a hologram of of Spock killing these hospital attendees as he leaves?
I actually think that last time we saw them, that was fake too, because of the time frame they're talking from when that episode happened in this one. But I could be wrong.
How long has it been in place that the system has slowly been working towards this goal?
Well, we don't know that yet, and probably
I can give you an idea,
out, but there's still a bigger issue here you guys are not seeing.
I'll let you go, and then I want to say my theory. What's yours, Carlos?
Okay, let's backtrack a little bit to how we even got where we are. All right, so we know that Arium was infected by a virus of some kind, right?
Right.
From the future.
That virus came from where?
The future.
The sphere.
The future. So in the future...
We have a bootstrap paradox.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have this issue where
that was it was from the probe that got evolved on the show.
The probe that came from the future.
From the future, yes.
Okay, so the probe from the future instructed her what to do in the present, and she carried that out, and it didn't happen. I mean, it didn't work.
So the probe is sent by the control.
So yeah, but then how does control survive into the future if we now know about control?
Right, exactly.
Because it knows Burnham's going to try to alter that timeline. And
this is the same, but this is the exact same paradox.
This goes along with the Red Angel, though. The Red Burst.
Saving Michael is what it goes along with.
There's
same type of thing.
There's one explanation for all of this.
Oh, don't say it.
I hate.
I know where you're going.
I hate that I have to say this.
It's not the
fucking Worf.
Yes.
We need fucking Worf.
What?
Because this is the only way. The only way this could make sense is if we're dealing with a parallel situation.
Oh God, no.
No, I'll tell you what I think. Here's my theory.
No. I'm not even kidding about this. And I know
you're not kidding about
Carlos,
it, but no.
He's right.
For time's sake, we're going to push on.
Listen. You have this thing, this anomaly, this time-space anomaly that happened, and just suddenly, after they launch a probe, it comes back as this big squid thing.
Right.
That
500 years in the future,
but from which future?
The future with Keanu Reeves in the Matrix. That's the future.
We've already seen in parallels that there are like thousands of different futures that can happen.
No, that's different. Those are quantum realities. Those are not alternate timelines. They're completely different physics.
Okay, we're totally nerding out, you guys.
Right. But anyways, otherwise I would agree with you that that's possible. But the way Data explained it's not what they are. But sort of, but not really. But my theory is that the Telosians do play into this because I forgot the one thing that's tied into this. Why does everybody want Spock? Because he knows he's always been in contact with the Red Angel. The Red Angel has been appearing and stopping things. To control, obviously, if it came from the future or helped or got
Spock is the MacGuffin.
Is the MacGuffin, and also what did the Telosians? Yes. What was the one thing the Telosians wanted in exchange for helping Spock from Burnham? The memory of her and Spock's childhood trauma, whatever caused the problem, makes more sense now because they want to know what's going on with the Red Angel just as much as everybody else. And
so if Spock's a McMuffin, what's he filled with?
Cheese.
Sausage. Lots and lots of sausage.
And
ham and eggs, baby.
But the Telosians want that information too because they know something's going on too with the Red Burst. Well, plus one of the Red Bursts was over Talos 4. So of course they want to know what the hell is going on. And so Control doesn't want what it's planning to do to change, and it knows someone's going to get in the Red Angel suit and go around and start fixing shit like a temporal savior. And then that's why when the probe got sent back, it was sort of an attempt to just sort of orchestrate it so that they.
Well, okay, you're going too far in the future. We don't know enough to
yeah. Well, we got 5 more episodes, so we're gonna find out.
Because we also know Terralisium is going to play into this in some way.
Right. And because
we
there are
don't
5
know-
more episodes, I'm confident.
Yeah, and we don't know how yet. But so here's the thing that I'm kind of excited about, but also some things I'm disappointed about. I'm disappointed if, in fact, what the big problem here is basically Section 31's control AI running amok.
Has
Because that
become the
seems
Borg.
because that seems just kind of mundane. I mean, obviously, if it's threatening the entire galaxy, it's not that mundane, but it feels a little small to me in terms of the story.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this. I agree. It's
and remember we saw
is what it is.
Yeah, and remember we saw Spock's vision of the future of what those ships looked like that launched the things.
They're
that
squid things, just like the probe.
Right, but my point is though that they it's an indistinct technology. Even though it grows out of Federation technology, obviously, if it's based on control, but plus 500 years. But anyway, I hope it's bigger than just a run amok, Section 31 AI, because that just seems kind of small to me.
Yeah,
I expect it will be, because they've done such a good job. I can't so far this season. I can't imagine having our basically the question answered, but one of the main questions answered. When we got 5 episodes left. So I doubt that the AI is our answer here. I think it's going to get us.
I'm hoping it's
answer.
A MacGuffin too.
Well, next, exactly. it could be a red herring. It's not the real threat. And,
I think
and
it's
next,
red herring. I think it's
could be, but
it's like Carl said, it's a MacGuffin. It's
next
device
week
that gets us too. So
next week we're gonna get a lot of answers from what the promo has promised. It's called the Red Angel, and we will see what happens with that. But yeah,
can we take a poll quick?
Wait a minute.
Oh yeah, let's take a poll.
I have I have one more note.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Project Daedalus. Find Project Daedalus.
Right.
What is Project Daedalus?
We don't know yet.
The only thing I came up with.
Wait a minute. If you know your history, you know exactly what the fuck Project Daedalus is.
And the wings is the key.
Daedalus built the wings for himself and for Icarus to escape
break free of
the
the
hell,
tower.
To break free of their captivity.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Well,
that's why I think.
What does the Red Angel have?
Wings. I really agree with you. Carlos didn't agree with me on Facebook, but I think they are using it in a weird metaphoric way.
No, well, of course they're using it in a metaphoric way. That's the whole point of project names. But the question is, is it?
I mean the story, not the name of it.
Is it just a code name, or are they really on the nose with what it means? That's the big question.
I think the question is whether or not you're buying the AI as the big bad, or if it's a MacGuffin. I think it's a MacGuffin. If you buy it as the big bad, then yeah, it all falls into place, because it's the intelligence that's stuck in the tower and is trying to get out. But the problem is that it's a suit in a human form, which an AI is not a human form.
And also, no.
I don't see. That's not the logic at all, Carlos. The AI is not the thing in the tower.
The Red Angel.
Keep going.
The Project Daedalus is something that can stop the AI from going amok. Project Daedalus is the wings are the wings for humanity to escape the tower.
Well, we'll see. I mean,
the system, the control, whatever the hell it's called, that is the tower.
I did buy into that parallel too, and the wings representing of the angel representing something, but it could be why they need.
I mean, I don't think the wings. I don't think the wings don't have anything to do with Daedalus. I mean, there's a connection there, but the question is how does that play into what we're seeing? For example, if we go with the Michael Burnham is the Red Angel theory, okay, we know that the Red Angel is coming from the future, at least 500 years. So somehow she or someone else, whoever it is, needs to get there or be there or become whatever that is in order to come back and fix things. So
Yeah, we'll find out.
I just don't think we have enough information.
We
boy.
don't. We're close though.
Yeah,
Very
I
close.
had actually, son, I had the same thought about that as well. About the quantum leap comparison here, that the Red
Well, shit.
Angel, the
Okay.
Red Angel just keeps taking him from one point to another to set time right. Yeah,
You'll know you're right
I-
if Burnham ends up starting the episode, before they go to the opening credits, going, "Oh boy."
right, exactly. Like Joe just said. Right.
Looks in the mirror and she's actually chilly. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, okay, so-
Al.
So
All right,
I need to sidetrack just a little bit, okay?
Like, don't take
just
long.
a little
We
bit.
need to wrap up in a few
I
minutes.
was having a conversation earlier this week, like extremely earlier this week, about quantum leap and the how time travel effectively could make a person immortal, and we were using quantum leap as the device to discuss this. And at almost 2 days later, we get the news, the geek news, that scientists have reversed the thermodynamic arrow of time using what? Quantum computing.
Word.
Yeah. Well, that's a cool one, kind of.
And it was called Ziggy.
Oh yeah. Oh really? That's cool.
The quantum leap fans laughed. George is like, "What's going on? What are you talking
No, I was
about?"
being sarcastic. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, let's give this episode a rating. Carlos, what do you, out of 10?
Before we do the
well,
rating,
no,
I
okay.
want to do a quick.
Okay.
I want to do a quick poll on everyone's current theory on who the Red Angel is.
All right. Well, we'll start with Sun.
I think the Red Angel is whoever gets sent to 1,000-year future Discovery first.
All right, Sean, what's your theory?
I'm at the point where they're setting it up to be Michael Burnham, because they're doing that, I'm gonna say it's probably not. I hope they don't go the dumb route like they did last year and telegraph the big plot twist as badly as they did with Tyler and with Lorca. So I'm gonna tentatively say that I don't know, although they're making it look like it's Burnham, but I don't.
I was
think
thinking it was
that's the
Burnham
case.
up until you pointed that out just this second, actually. But it could still be her, but it could be Spock too, because I think next episode we're gonna, if not find out who, we're gonna find out.
I think what it's going to be. I think
Tilly.
It could be.
I think
It
it's
could
going to
be.
be
Could
no
be.
one. I think it's going to be no one we know. To be honest,
That's possible too. Sometimes
So-
that happens. So you
Wouldn't
haven't met the
it
person.
Wouldn't it be absolutely fucking hilarious if it was Amanda?
That actually makes a lot of sense.
It's Cybok. He comes from an alternate timeline. That's why he wasn't around.
It is not fucking Cybok.
Cybok is too logical to do something that emotional.
That's so funny.
Who do you think it is?
It would
Casey?
be. It would. If anybody, it would be Amanda.
Cybok.
All right, Casey. All right.
I hate him so much.
Joe, who do you think it is?
Tilly.
Oh, that's good. All right, and Carlos?
I think Burnham right now is the obvious choice. I think Tilly is the off-brand choice, and
Off-brand.
off-brand.
It's like Morton Salt and Walmart.
It kind of is. So I'm leaning from pure logic towards Burnham, but from pure quirkiness towards Tilly, because it still all makes sense. Tilly cares about all the people the Red Angel has saved so far, as much as Michael does, and it avoids being the obvious choice, which is Michael. So,
Oh my
plus
God,
it's red, like her hair. I'm just saying.
Okay, I've got to change my vote on this entirely. I don't know why I didn't see this. Why it just didn't occur to me. Arium.
But isn't our theory that Arium is the AI discovery in the future?
That's the other side of this too. Is that Arium? This would connect to Calypso as well.
Yeah.
Oh, the AI in the future gets a body.
Yeah,
Comes
right.
back.
Or just an exosuit in a body or something. That
That
looks
is
like
a good
body.
theory.
So-
Arium's AI consciousness. in
My
the
vote is
future.
for Arium. That's it. I'm changing it. I'm casting it for Arium.
That is a strong merit.
Yeah, no.
And
yeah,
for Gary Johnson in 2020. There we go.
That's
Pot
that's
smoke for
the
everybody.
that's something that we see at the near the end of the episode, is that Tilly makes a point of saying Arium has downloaded all of her memories into Discovery. And what
No,
do we see in
25%.
Calypso?
No.
Well,
Oh no,
no.
25% was how much
No.
the control
AI,
right.
Yeah, of the AI technology.
Right, they have all of Ariam's. Okay.
They have all of Ariam in.
Oh, that's right. That's why Tilly had to keep sending her memories.
Exactly. I mean, everything of Ariam is in Discovery.
Right.
I
Now-
love Ariam.
That was
And
why
now-
Tilly had to send those memories to try to help burn them.
And it makes more sense to me now because considering how this whole Ariam episode, this standalone episode, was made so important out of nowhere. This came from this episode. So this, I'm going with Ariam.
I'm gonna one last thing, just and then we really gotta wrap it up.
But see, here's the other thing: we've seen this before. Actually, we've just not seen a computer do it to an augmented human to a computer. We've seen it with a human to a computer. In
she's still
the
a
Next
Generation
Generation.
either way.
I believe it was the Next Generation.
What do what to a computer? One more
Where
time.
the guy downloads his entire mind of the computer.
Oh, the one where Data's they go down that planet with Dr. Solar, and the guy did that, and he went into Data. Basically.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
It's like we've seen this before.
Not exactly the same,
we've just not had it be a someone. We've not just had it been RoboCop downloading his mind into a computer.
Well, Joe made real quick. Joe made a good point in the chat. Could this be that the way the season ends is this is what creates the Calypso ship, and they have to abandon it and get a new Discovery next season?
I doubt it. I don't think
it's
they're
impossible.
But I don't see.
Why would you call a series? Why would you continue to call it Star Trek Discovery if they?
No, I said a new Discovery. You get a new version of Discovery.
It could be the 1031A.
That's what I mean. They have some reason why they have to abandon it.
Yeah, it no longer has the spore drive like Carlos.
I don't think we're going to see that because Star Trek doesn't like to change up its iconic ships in series.
Well, nobody said it wasn't going to be like Defiant, where they get another same class and they just call it.
You're talking about the exact same ship?
Yeah, I'm saying they have to abandon this one. Well, that's the one that they find in the future.
That's not a bad freaking theory.
And then they get a new one, just like
they're going to get a new crossfield. Is what you're saying? I see.
Right, another crossfield.
A new crossfield class.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're going to get rid of the iconic ship.
That's not a horrible idea.
They're getting a new crossfield class, one that doesn't spin around and have spores in it.
Well, it will do the same. It's just going to do the same with Febreze.
But it does help tie up what happened in Calypso too.
But no, that's the thing. That would tie Calypso together for this perfectly, because why was Discovery abandoned to begin with? This could be. There's your answer. Holy shit, Joe and George, you've got it. Bye, George.
Let's wrap it up. But those are all good theories to see what happens. We got 5 more episodes. Carlos, where can people find you on social media?
I
am. We didn't do the.
I'm sorry.
Episode.
Oh yeah, ratings. Right.
Ratings, Carlos.
I will give it an 8.5.
All right, Joe.
7.
I'm gonna say 8.5 also. Yeah. What about you, Sean?
I'm gonna give it an 8, and only because I was actually a lot higher, and I want to explain this out. I've dropped down a bit because there are some really glaring plot holes that were punching me in the face as we were talking. But here's the thing: is that this was such a touching episode, and it was so heartbreaking at the very end of it, with the no music and the sounds of the beach.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
And then at the end, there wasn't a trailer at the end. I don't know if you guys noticed this.
That was the sudden no music thing was very powerful. It
was like the finality of that whole thing, and the way that they developed her so well over those 52 minutes. That was amazing to me. The only problems I have, there's the major plot hole issues. So I'm going to keep it an 8. But I'm comfortable with that. But I did thoroughly enjoy this episode. Right. Again, another episode that had me in tears at the end of it. Damn you, Star Trek! Damn you!
What about you, son?
Okay, so I don't know what you guys were watching it through, but I did seem to have a trailer for the next episode.
They had a trailer.
Yeah, I saw that too.
For me.
Not me.
They talking about they didn't have the music credit.
Okay, do you guys? Let me ask you: are you guys watching through CBS All Access?
Mm-hmm. I am, but I don't have commercial free. I have.
No, I'm asking about. Are you using their app? Okay.
Yes.
That's my question.
I did. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, on my laptop. Yes.
How do you watch it, son?
I watch it through browser.
Okay. Okay. What? Okay. So
on their main website. Like,
Okay, so
on
you
it.
guys are all watching directly through CBS. See, I don't.
Mhm.
I have my CBS All Access subscription is through my Amazon Prime account, and so I
Mm.
watch it as a channel on Amazon Video.
Okay.
So that may be why I didn't see the trailer. I normally do though. It's just weird, but
Yeah.
this time I didn't see. I'm gonna have to go back and hunt it down.
Yeah, they're gonna have a funeral
Yeah, no,
and all
because
that stuff.
like the next episode had like not even lateral transporters. It's like they were at a 90-degree angle or something, or 45-degree angle transporters.
Yeah,
Cool.
there's definitely a trailer for the next episode. I've
Yeah,
seen
no,
it.
there
Okay,
is.
great.
All right, so I want to thank everyone for joining us. You can find us on TR Super Geeks on our YouTube channel, and the Real Super Geeks is our Facebook group, which is getting bigger and fun and interactive. And you can also
It's
find us
getting
on
loud. It's definitely
getting loud, yeah. And you can find us, that's true. And you can find us on Subspace Radio Mondays from usually 7 Eastern, 7 Pacific Time, 10 Eastern Time. All right, well, that does it for another exciting episode of Star Trek Discovery Reaction for Super Geeks, and I want to thank you, and see you next week.
Thanks, George. Bye.
Catch you later.
Au revoir.